Okay, here you are, you made it. This is the episode that talks about Flexique Instant Lace. That's the one that a lot of folks may be interested in and are asking about. It's a no mix, no bake, flexible, indefinite lace mixture. All you have to do is take out whatever you need, put it into a silicone container, warm it up till it's liquid, add some color and flavor to match your cake profile, and you're ready to go. So it's instant, which means there's no mixing required. It's pre-mixed, so it lasts up to 2 years on the shelf. It'll cover about 10 of these large lace mats. Each one of these takes about 20 grams of product, and one jar has 200 grams, so figure out the math. So all I have to do is color it, spread it into your lace mat, and let it dry 15-20 minutes, and it's ready to use. Now remember to keep your mat clean, because any excess that spills over you can just pick up and reuse, or if you don't like what you did the first time, pick it up out of the mat, put it back into the jar, remelt it, and reuse it. Okay, some pointers for using Flexique Instant Lace. First, cold makes it set. That's a little bit backwards from the other laces that you've probably used. So remember, if you're working in a cold environment, work quickly and do some things to help you. One of the things that one of the certified instructors recommended is warm up a cookie sheet, place your mat on top of that warm cookie sheet. That gives you more time to work, keeps things a little bit warmer for you. Also, the next point is use some shortening on your fingertips. Not a lot, just barely enough. And then you're going to want to spread it on the high points of your lace mat. Not into the grooves, not into the design, but into the high points. Okay, and then the last point is make sure the product is hot. Because it cools in cool temperatures, you want to start out with as hot a temperatured product as you can. So I've got here some product that was just warmed up in the microwave. I'm going to work on small sections at a time so that it doesn't congeal and pull out of the mat. Start by pouring into one section of the mat, work it into those areas, and spread it with your spatula. Now the one thing that I've found is people tend to not pull very hard or press very hard when they draw their spatula across the design, and that leaves things on the voids of the mat. See, so you have to press pretty hard with your spatula, okay, to clean off that mat. Now you just add to where it ended, and it'll melt what was there and continue to spread all the way. That's all there is to it. Okay, so the other thing is check for missed spots. I did this on purpose. All you have to do is take your spatula and dip a little bit on it and then wipe it off, and that fills in the void. That's the way you do it any place you've got missing areas. Because the product is still hot, it'll melt what's in the mat already, and then fill in any voids that you have. All right? Simple process. So once you have it in the mat, you want to test it. And if it doesn't come off on your fingertips, it's time to luster it if you're going to luster it. You can cornstarch it, or you can use some shortening, or you can apply luster. The earlier you apply luster, the more it will absorb. And the first question everybody has is, well, it's going to dirty up my mat, isn't it? And sure, it might, but it's easier to apply luster when your lace is in your mat. And we found that you can very easily clean the luster off of your lace mat by using 409. There you go. Okay. Taking it out of the mat is very easy. Once it's set, you can actually start removing it and then turn it upside down and take it out as you're pulling it from the lace mat. You want to do something with a corn puff to make it easier to take out. Now this was fairly fresh. This was just done like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. So you see it's still a little fragile. So you don't want to treat it roughly, treat it gingerly, and it's still easy enough to handle. And there you go. So you've lustered it on one side, so it's nice and shiny, not sticky, and on the other side, you cornstarch it, and so all the stickiness is gone. It's very fragile, but still handleable. The longer it sets, the stronger it gets. Okay, so you say, I want longer pieces of lace. How do I do that? Kind of easy. You have two sections here of lace that we did in the lace mats. We're going to take and attach them where they normally would attach as a seam, and take some warmed up Flexique, colored the same color as you have the rest of it, and use a little paintbrush to dab a little bit of Flexique instant lace right at the seam. All the way up and down the seams. And when that dries, you won't even be able to tell that there's a seam there. And there it is. Now when that dries, you can lift it up. Don't pull it too tight until it cures, but it'll be nice and attached, and you can just wrap it around your cake. So when it's all dry to touch, you can actually pick it up and the seam will hold. Now it's a little fresh right now, so I don't want to stretch it, but you can see that the seam is there. You've got a long piece of lace that you can just wrap around your cake. Okay, if you're working with a large mat, you want to work in small sections at a time. I've got a smaller one here. You want to make sure that you've got your shortening, like I said, to cover those high spots in your mat. And then you just apply to one section at a time. This is a very fine mat, so you want to make sure you have everything in the grooves. How about making a 3D ribbon? Would you like to do that? Kind of fairly easy. First you take the first color and you put it into your lace mat, fill it in, scrape off the top. So the first color is in the design of the lace mat. Then you put on top of that the second color. I've got some black in the lace mat. I'm going to use some warmed up white to add just about 1/8 of an inch on top. 1/8 of an inch layer just on top of the already inserted design. And that's all there is to it. And remember, don't worry about the excess, because you can just gather that up and put it into your silicone cup and reuse it. So I've got a piece here that I've done before. One side of it is black and the other side of it is purple. Laid a layer of white instant lace on top, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then when you take it out of the mat, what you've got is, this is purple, this is black. You can see the three-dimensional look that it gives. When you pull it out of the lace mat, the design comes out and just lays on top of the background. Isn't that cool? You can do it in different colors. Here's a green, black on green. When the lace actually comes out of the mat, it's very fine, and all of the fine detail comes through. It's not breakable. You can create a lace bow or any kind of design to put on your cake. So how do you attach Flexique instant lace to a cake? Kind of simple, a couple of different ways. First of all, if you have a long piece, long enough to go all the way around the cake, wrap it all the way around the cake to the seam and attach it at the seam with some of the Flexique instant lace. That'll hold the seam together tightly around your cake and it won't slip or slide. If you're putting sections of it onto a soft buttercream, no problem, it adheres. If you're putting it on fondant, remember, any kind of Flexique products, any kind of gelatin products will draw moisture from fondant, so you got to seal the fondant with edible lacquer spray, a good piping gel, or some of Nicholas Lodge's Super Bond. So there are the basics. Get yours and start experimenting. There are several other things you can do with Flexique instant lace. Cornstarch, piping, stained glass, roses.